What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the Alto again, and this time we return with Amorphis. Thank you so much, Tommy, for being here today. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have you here. The Tales from the Thousand Lakes live album, I was checking it out. It's really, really cool. It really brings you an experience. It makes you feel like that I was sort of there in a way. Was there more reasoning behind this than it just being the 30-year anniversary of that album? Was there like another reason why you chose this particular gig to make a live album out of it? And what sort of like meaning behind it were we trying to express with this live album?
Well, we recorded when the COVID time was on, so that's why there's no audience. So it's a bit strange live, but we wanted to do it because we are quite busy now touring, so we don't have like anniversary gigs for Tales from the Thousand Lakes, so we at least have this. And I find it much more relevant to do it like on live than going to studio and make some remixes or rearrangements to the songs. So it's just we can offer something to this anniversary year, and yeah, that's the main reason.
Yeah, I've heard one person say that a live record is almost like pornography on the radio. Like it's not like getting the experience of being at a live show, so to speak. It doesn't feel like you're there in a way, but by having this sort of like production and like having like the no audience thing but still making it live in a way, I thought it was very, very organic. But recording a live album and not having an audience to engage in, did it feel somewhat different in a way?
Oh yeah, it is. But and at that time as well, we did few these street gigs, and of course they all felt like so strange if you have like one guy there like clapping between the songs, and like it was making it even worse like than just silence. But yeah, it was the time, and it didn't feel normal, but at least it was something to do at the time. And
Yeah.
I think most of the bands did something like this, and of course it's difficult, but I feel like it's more like a rehearsings or something like that, but on stage and like because we didn't like taking anything again, or if there was mistake, it's there, and we just wanted to put out it like this. So
Yeah. I mean, having one person in the audience clapping, I mean, I think every band has that in the beginning of their career, right? Did it just feel like the early days of
yeah, but after 30 years, that's the biggest nightmare.
Fair
You
enough.
treat those like, oh, where are the people?
Fair enough. Fair enough. At least no tickets had to be sold for it by the band members. But last but not least, with regard to this album, and you in a way kind of just answered it, was this also really just meant to serve as sort of like a appetizer, or sort of like to hold people over while we wait for a follow-up to Halo? Because you did also release the Queen of Time live album as well, so these sort of live records have been really cool experience to sort of hold us over while we wait for a follow-up to the epic nature of Halo.
Well, yeah, we're heading to studio like after US tour September. We're heading straight after the studio, and so the next album will be out like year from this date or something like that. And I think it's good, yeah, appetizer, as you said, to have something out. And we have done few of these live recordings, and I think it's mainly because we have like very professional crew, and our playing is very tight nowadays, I guess, because we are touring all the time. So it's good to have like something memories from the gigs. And sometimes we just record and we don't know even if we are going to use it anywhere or not. But if it sounds good, it's good to put out. So.
Speaking of anniversary, there was one anniversary I wanted to mention, and I know it may seem kind of random, but next year is going to be 10 years of Under the Red Cloud, which is actually the album I discovered Amorphis on. I was sort of like a bit of a late bloomer. I listened to From the Heaven of My Heart and Silver Bride and a couple of other songs, but Under the Red Cloud was like the first Amorphis album I dived into and listened from front to back. And when you compare Circle or The Beginning of Times in a way, it almost feels... Did Under the Red Cloud almost serve as sort of like a turning point for Amorphis? And it could just me being overanalyzing the hell out of it. But when you look at the artwork for Under the Red Cloud, Queen of Time, and now with Halo, they all sort of visually connect as well compared to the previous ones. So was this meant to be either a trilogy or like a new direction in a way for Amorphis?
Well, as looking back, I think there is. I can see all the albums as those like three cycles. Like always have been like three in some same kind of mode in a way, and after that has been changing something or going to little bit new direction or something. So that's gonna happen now as well, because now we had three albums with the same producer Jens Bukren, and also the cover artist as well, who made the covers for the album. So I think that will change now again, like after three albums. I think it's important us to have something new like way of doing things, or so it doesn't go to like too much routine kind of working. So if you have like a new guy as producer, it's always brings something and maybe dig something else out of us than because it was great to work with like Jens Bukren, but I think we already like he digged everything he could from us, and it's good to have like some change.
Yeah. Well, if there's any band that demonstrates evolution and is like very upfront about it too, it is Amorphis. I mean, like when you compare like the earliest material going from, you know, Tales of a Thousand Lakes or even the Carolean Ithymis, if I pronounce that correctly, but like the evolution of Amorphis has really been so prevalent from different members coming and going, but as well as just the aggressive sound. There's parts of melodic death metal, symphonic metal, some black metal. I mean, it really has been, it is truly remarkable of just the evolution of Amorphis. Was this always the vision in a way? Was this always sort of like the idea, or did things kind of just happen naturally that way?
You could think that it was planned because well, now if you think about Amorphis as a name, Amorphos, it's kind of explain it, but it wasn't. I think the main reason was that we were very, very young, like underaged, when we recorded the first album. So obviously our musical taste has been like not changing, but going wider all the time and finding like new kind of bands. And because when we record the first like demos, we were just listening to like bands like Morbid Angel, Carcass, Slayer, you know, young metalheads. But like after first album, I think we started to discover like 70s progressive rock bands like Pink Floyd and stuff like that. So those elements came like as influence naturally to us, and we wanted to use them and not like think that we cannot because we are limited to be a metal band. So by that, I think we just have taken like more and more influences. Sometimes we have gone like maybe too far. Like if you're asking from some fans, like Tuonela album, I think a lot of our fans didn't like it because it wasn't that heavy anymore. But I think every step we made has been leading us where we are right now, because then we are realizing something, and we have to just try things musically, because as said, we were so young when we started, so we wanted to like try different things. It would be different if you start band when you're 30 or something, then you maybe know what you're going to or want to do. So in a good way, I think this happens, that it's been like part of our lives all the time. So
yeah, you bring up a very good point. I mean, apples and oranges in terms of comparing bands, but you take a band like Avenged Sevenfold, for example, they were all very, very young when they started. They were all punk rock and hardcore kids, and now look how much they've changed over the years. But then there are bands where they formed where they were relatively older. I think a good example would be Disturbed. They were like in their late 20s, I think, or early 30s when they started. So they've had sort of like an AC/DC sort of effect where they have a formula that they can sort of stick with where there's enough leeway. But do you think that one thing that helps with Amorphis is that you're all in different projects as well? I just interviewed Ali a couple weeks ago for the Octoploid record, but your history with Abhorrence and so many other bands, and everybody, like I almost consider Amorphis to be a super group at this point with all the projects that they're involved in. So that also has to help bring new life and bring, help you all think outside the box when you're exploring different projects away from each other, right?
Yeah, that's true. Like at some point, I remember like 15 years ago, something like that. I remember I had like 6 project bands besides Amorphis, and every other guys as well. And I think it always has been just bringing more to Amorphis than taking anything. So because you are playing with different guys and different musicians and different kind of style, you always get realizing like some new things from guitar and sounds, and then you bring it to like Amorphis. It's just making the sound maybe wider and thinking it bigger in a way.
And also, when you look at the evolution of Amorphis' sound, I'd imagine too, we're all young, we're all learning more on our instrument every single day as well. And the technical proficiency of Amorphis is a force to be reckoned with. It's a true, from the riffs that we hear to the different vocal harmonies to the different keys and arrangements, really truly an epic experience every time. Have you discovered new techniques as well as just a guitar player that allowed you to bring more stuff into Amorphis?
Well, not maybe techniques. I think my playing style in Amorphis is more like carry the song and not like doing that much. There's so many things happening, like with the keyboards and so lead guitar and singing. So I feel like I'm more like where the drums and the bass is, and I have like certain space to feel, and not. Sometimes I try to make it a little more complicated things, but it just doesn't sound like Amorphis to me. So I don't know about technique, but I think just some small things, and when it comes like composing new stuff, I think you get. Sometimes I've started to make like some song which is not metal at all. I've been thinking like that it's gonna be to some side project or something, but then it just start to get the shape to Amorphis shape. I mean, so I think that way some of the riffs or songs can be like more unique or original in this like metal field.
But to have like a song that's very melodic driven, like From the Heaven of My Heart, to the aggression that we hear in some of the earlier material, does maybe you have to like adjust how you play, or maybe even like the effects of your guitar in a way to sort of fit Tomi's vocal style in a way as well?
Well, yeah, of course. I think it's if the song needs something else, then it's like I'm thinking it more like taking one song at a time and what fits to that and what other guys are playing and things like this.
Do you find it maybe easier, since you have such an emphasis on the rhythmic aspects of Amorphis, do you find yourself following Ali's playing a lot more and Jan's drumming a lot more? Like, are you paying more attention to that than what you would with Isa or Santeria or Tomi? Like, are you more focused on the rhythm?
Yeah, I think it goes like both directions. I think me and Olli and Jan are like all are like following what other guys what they are doing. So I think it's just jamming, and we have played so many years together. So if I make some small thing, I know that Jan is gonna get it like next round, and other way around. If Jan is playing something, I can imagine. I know already that he's gonna do that again there and there, and so it's that way. It's like kind of easier. But yeah, I feel like we are like in that rhythmic section more, and of course me and Esa have some guitar things together, like some harmonies or what we play together. So yeah, but I feel I'm more like in this rhythmic side.
Does the mindset of creativity or songwriting change depending on what project you're with, whether it's with Amorphis or Abhorrence or a project such as Bjorko, if I pronounce that correctly? Like, does your technique or even sources of inspiration sort of change?
Well, yeah, I think when we started, it was more like having like riff, and then you have another riff, and you just put it build it together and going to rehearsing place and somebody else came like, I have this kind of riff, let's put it there. It was like, it's like making some puzzle or something. But nowadays it's more like you're focusing to like the whole song more, and in good and bad. I like it that way as well, when you just jam in a rehearsing place and everybody have the ideas. But nowadays with everybody having some kind of home studio, the songs are pretty much like done when we are sharing to others. But of course they're changing in rehearsing place again. Everybody have a right to have like own ideas and arrangement ideas to it. So, but it's different. But I don't know which one is like better. But
well, nine times out of 10 when I interview a band and I ask them like how a song starts off when you make it, 9 times out of 10 they say it starts off with a riff. And I get this whether it's a death metal band, a black metal band, a soft rock band, a prog band, whatever. Do you think we're ever going to run out of riffs one day?
Yes. I think of that often. Like I'm very like I'm not fast to make songs. I kept sticking to think like some small detail too much and like perfectionist way maybe too much, and it's not good. But I mean, Santeri and Esa, they are like fast deliver. They're having like 10 songs in the same times when I have like one. But normally my it's not starting from riff, but from melody I have in mind, and that's the starting point. And so, but of course with that way you always start to think like if this melody is really mine or have I heard it somewhere, you know.
Yeah. Well,
I get paranoid, like maybe I stole this from somewhere, but I can't remember where. So
yeah. Well, I will say too. Does it maybe change? Does the direction of a song completely change depending on how it starts? Like I think the piano introduction to Under the Red Cloud is completely. Without that, it would be a completely different song. So if it starts off with more keyboards, or it just goes right into the heavy aspects of it, does that maybe also change the arrangement?
Oh yeah, but sometimes it happens that you're have like song and then you're thinking of the C part or something, and then you're realizing, okay, the C part is actually the main riff or main opening theme or something. Or then you just discover that, okay, it's not that good, but the bass line is good. So you start to build things to that. So it can change. Nowadays it's easy to work with like Pro Tools. You can just try things, and sometimes it changes a lot, like from the original idea.
And then there was one final question I wanted to ask you tonight, and this was something that I actually thought about this question literally like right before I went to sleep last night when preparing for this morning's interview. I've interviewed at this point maybe hundreds of bands from Finland, right? And I've heard people, band members and fans alike, and this question might be a little long, so forgive me, but to talk about Finnish metal like it's a genre, like it's death metal or black metal or whatever, like Finnish metal. But you guys sound nothing like Children of Bodom, who sound nothing like Nightwish, who sound nothing like Him, who sound nothing like Santa Cruz, for example. I just named 5 bands that sound very different from each other, but they've all been called Finnish metal. And now a lot of people, when I talk about Finnish metal, they assume that it's either going to sound like Ein Sephirim, or it's going to sound like Children of Bodom, or like a more Gothenburg sort of sound. Is there like Finnish metal? I just feel like, is that become like a genre in itself in a way, almost kind of like the term female fronted metal in a way, where like, you know, Lacuna Coil sounds very different from Arch Enemy, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it was at some point like when they started to be, because Sweden was ahead Finland in this like metal genre. I mean death metal. There was Entombed and bands like this. But when Finland started to like be more like known as a metal bands, I think everybody wanted to have like own unique sound and style, and not like trying to sound like their heroes or something. So I think that's the one good thing in Finnish bands. A lot of them like that they're trying to be themselves, and I think it's more like nowadays younger bands are trying to sound like them because they have like certain style. You can, as you said, like Nightwish, Children of Bodom, you can immediately hear that they are this band, and it's not like the trying to sound like Slayer because there is Slayer already, so it makes no sense to trying to be like Slayer because you cannot beat Slayer. So.
Well, I mean, there have been times where I never said it to the interviewee, but like I said, let me guess what your favorite band is. Is it the band you sound exactly alike in a way? But it's funny you mention that because a lot of people would assume that because there's so many metal bands in Finland and Sweden and Norway that it's very oversaturated. But it seems like that there's a demand for every band. Like oversaturated, I've seen you guys pack out Gramercy Theater. I've seen Ansafirum pack out Irving Plaza. I've seen Ville Valo pack out Irving Plaza 2 nights in a row, and Nightwish pack out Terminal 5. So like it just seems like that it seems like there are new metal fans coming every day, and there's always a demand for music. No matter how much the industry has changed, it just seems like there's always a demand for music. So I can't really see oversaturation being such a problem, but I'm not in a band, so I could be talking very ignorantly here right now.
Yeah, I think it's been like good spirit as well, like between the bands. Like I see it more like bands are trying to help other bands and not like being in any kind of competition. Because I think everybody knows that that's their slot and that's our slot. It's not like threatening situation or something like that. I think it's more like as you said, I think it's not. There should be even more. I think there's a room for good music, I guess.
Definitely.
And I hope like younger bands would come and younger people start to play, because nowadays it's pretty much, I think, everywhere that different kind of music is like what younger people are trying to do. It's like R&B and rap and whatever. But I haven't seen that many like younger bands. Few. But not that as much as all our old geezers. So.
Hey, well, to quote the great Lemmy Kilmister, if you think you're too old to rock and roll, you probably are.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but the future has definitely been becoming more genreless in a way. But I've noticed too, because Amorphis has toured with a variety of bands as well. Like I've seen you play with Delane, and then I've also seen you play with Dark Tranquillity. And yes, you can appreciate both, but I mean, the voices that you hear in Delane are very different from what you would hear in Dark Tranquillity. And then you brought out Soilwork, and then you've toured with like a folk metal band like Elevate. So I'd imagine too, like you've been able to sort of fluctuate through multiple different styles as well.
Yeah, I guess nowadays it's easier. When we started, I felt like we were kind of odd bird in a way, like playing like if we couldn't even imagine to play like with Dimmu Borgir, because we told that okay, there's black metal people are throwing us some cans or something. But like just before Corona, we did a European tour with Dimmu Borgir, which was like success and great. I think the audience was digging us both, because I think the metal music itself has been like getting wider like aspects, and it's not like that, strict like okay, you cannot do this, you just have to be like this, but you can try new things. And I think it's getting like more shapes, and I mean bands are different, because it used to be like black metal bands in early 90s. I think a lot of them sound like same, because they didn't have like guts maybe to do it differently before they started.
Yeah, well, no, 100%. And people would be like, some people would be like, how dare you say that? But I mean, the truth is, like, I'll just admit it, and I freaking love black metal. But like you play me Mayhem's first record, you play me Dark Throne's first record, you play me Satiricon's first record, you play me Dissection's first record, I'm gonna find little to no difference. I just am. Like, that's just the harsh truth of it. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing. It's just everybody.
It's same with death metal and like thrash metal maybe. But I think when bands start to evolve and doing more like their own thing, that's like they're in the right way. In my opinion. No,
I agree. I don't think it's how bands start. Like, some bands want to start off being like, we're going to be different from anything, and they're not. they're not. I think it's how you evolve that makes, like, I think Amorphis is a very quote unquote different band from a lot of bands, but not because, like, when I listen to the first record, it sounds like unlike anything I've ever heard. It's just you witness the evolution of it, and it's how a band evolves that makes it so different.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and that was like, I don't think we would exist anymore. Like if we would have like have a strict rules to ourselves, like not to have like too acoustic riffs or it's too cheesy or whatever thoughts. I think it's more like we didn't have any limitations, and if it sounded good to us, then we use it. So
yeah, definitely. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time, and most of all, just thank you for continuing to give us amazing new music and always shocking us with new tricks and twists and surprises. Just anything else with Amorphis you'd like to promote? You got the Dark Tranquility tour coming up. You're actually playing at the Gramercy Theater on my birthday, or the day before my birthday.
Okay.
So if you see some drunk guy like shouting "Play from the Heaven of My Heart" in the audience, that's going to be me. I'm 4 blocks away from the Gramercy Theater. So,
oh, nice. At this time, it's not the first show with the jet lag, so it's the last one. So
I know.
I'm looking.
I know. I remember the last time you came here with you guys, Dark Tranquility, Moonspell, and Omnium Gatherum. That was the first night of the tour, and I remember I was interviewing every band except you guys on that bill, and it was just a total shit show that day because first night of the tour is always the worst. But is there just anything else that you'd like to promote?
We'll hope to see you in shows and check out the new live DVD and record when it comes out, and take care and see you.
Yeah, awesome.
All this stuff.
Yeah. And can we get a time frame on when maybe new Amorphis will see the light of day, or you said, or you're just going right into the studio after the tour? You said. Yeah.
I still haven't heard the other guys' songs, so I don't have any idea what's gonna be. But we always need this like deadlines, so we decide that we are going to studio, then it's happening. Otherwise, we are just lazy asses.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, record labels, for imposing those on the. Thank you to every record label for putting the much needed pressure on all of our favorite bands. But thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Everybody, we are here with Amorphis, Tales of a Thousand Lakes live. Be sure to check that out. We will see you next time on Heavy New York.
Hey.